What else? What struck you that we didn't touch on? What did you hear, or what did you wish you'd heard that we were missing? Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry. Here you go. Oh, you got it.
So I wish I had heard about mobile development, mobile hacking on mobile phones. An environment maybe provided by the operators, as part of it, to actually create. But did you say that and I missed it?
We knocked that off our list because we didn't think it was interesting enough.
Oh, really? No, I think it's the most interesting for hacking in Africa, at least, because that's the platform, and we're already seeing people write books on it in other parts of the world. So there's no way that you can't code on it too.
Great. Okay. What else? Yes, sir. In the back.
So just to say, that was actually something that we did mention in our group. I have a group of friends that are writing the spec for taking a look at the Android phone, and because it's an open source application, turning that into an entire crypto phone and using that within activist situations or sensitive organizations. So that's in development, actually. And there, if you take a look at the crypto community within crypto SMS, and one of the gentlemen was demonstrating a phone that works on the Android service that will redistribute SMS messages through one particular phone. It becomes the server itself. There's a lot of development of that. So it's out there. Sorry it wasn't discussed so much.
It's not out there for the young hackers and hackers. It's out there for us.
Right.
But that's the difference.
It's when it comes to the Nokia 1100, which is the most widely distributed electronic device in history. In fact, the picture that was up here, interestingly, the guy holding the blue phone, that's the Africa phone. The 200 million of those that have been shipped. And that's not such a hacking platform. Chris.
Hi, Clay. Christopher Fabian, UNICEF. I think one thing that is really interesting here is when you have a group of this many smart people in a room together coming up with ideas, and this is only the first day, obviously, how do we, first of all, bind together everybody who's here, and the ideas, and make something practical come out of it? I know that we've taken some steps to this Open Mobile Consortium, which is bringing together some of these mobile ideas, but there clearly are a lot more out there, and there's a lot of space. So how do we say this is real, this is scalable, and people can take part in it? So this idea about radio and SMS and everything exists. It's out there, but it's not out there at a scale that people would necessarily know about. And second of all, how do we include academia in this? And I know that some of the most amazing conversations we've had are talking with Clay and with our colleagues from the University of Addis Ababa in Ethiopia, and being able to connect those universities together. How do we make that a sustainable platform for growth and encourage them to do this sort of mobile hacking? And I think that's something that this audience uniquely can start to really look at.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yes, sir. Can we get a mic over there?
Robert Kirkpatrick again. I just want to follow up on what Chris said. I mean, there's an anti-pattern here that we see conference after conference, right? We're all doing at least one day job, sometimes three. We're here because from our various walks of life, we have, call it expertise, that is valuable in a particular sector, and yet that makes us very, very busy when we're doing our regular work. But we come together and we brainstorm and we come up with these interesting ideas for partnerships, for mashups, and for projects, and then we get sucked back into the vortex. We go back to what we were doing before. There's intrinsic value in just the act of brainstorming. It is a short formative sprint. There's social network, there's social capital that's formed out of this. The social network is denser, more connections, more highly trusted connections, more contact information. But at the same time, what I'd love to see is a future where conferencing involves resources to sponsor pilots and a culture that is simultaneously one of let's brainstorm, and we're meeting next year and we're going to hold people accountable because we're assigning action items and we're taking names, and these different partnerships are going to go out and pilot 7 of the ideas we came up with, and we want to see what happened a year from now.
There's one over there as well. I think Erica wants to reply to that. Yeah, first of all, yes.
One of the reasons we've sort of put out a call for partnerships is specifically for this. I mean, I know a couple of people have approached me, but we really like, you guys are all doing amazing things. How do we do it better together? And the idea will be, so on the third day, to highlight those chosen few who are actually doing something amazing and actually collaborating and working together, not in the past, but also in the future. And we hope that we will, the ones, sort of the partnerships that are chosen to be highlighted will, hopefully we can generate some kind of accountability because they will go out on the web and hopefully other people will check in and hold them accountable. I mean, that's really the best thing we came up with, so no pressure.
Great. Thanks very much. Sir.
Hi, Jonathan Jackson from Damagi. Building on what Eric was talking about, I think that there's a need at these conferences to have dedicated time to actually use our PCs, but in a collective sense to answer and respond to comments going on now. For example, Nathan Eagle with the MIT Media Lab now has 10 different universities in 10 different African countries programming Python and teaching people how to develop mobile applications. Amy Smith actually sent MIT kids to go do exactly what you're talking about through that program, and there's 2 different applications I'm aware of for humanitarian secure messaging back and forth between people for directories. So there's a lot of solutions going on out there, and I know about 5% of them, if that. So I'd be curious to learn from everybody else too, but what's going to happen is we're going to talk about this. I'm not going to remember to talk to anybody else after the session because the next session is going to be just as interesting. So I'm wondering if there's a platform today like Crabgrass or something else that we can deploy now. Everybody pull out their phone, and as these things are going, have somebody report and log every single question, and we can respond in real time. Because I mean, that's something we can do. I'm pretty sure that technology exists in Twitter or something. We can do it right now.
Is that a platform, the Web4Dev wiki? Yeah, thank you. So, and just to continue this sort of ping-pong back and forth, I would love it if we never had to have another conference. Like, I think that would be the best thing ever. And not because I don't like sitting in this room, but because we have to make this obsolete. Like, especially in this community, like that community that's up on the screen there, this must be something that doesn't keep happening. As nice as it is to fly to nice places and have sort of spring weather. What we have for this is the Web4Dev wiki, which is, I believe it's wiki.web4dev.org? No. Web4dev.org. And on there, somebody can make a space. Now, there's no internet connectivity in this room, which is great.
Can we edit that slide to say .org for every other session so that people get the sense of...
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And let's brainstorm a little bit after this session about what we can do tomorrow, because I don't know that there's much we can do from in the past for this. But yeah, no, that's exactly what we need to get to, Jonathan.
What we can do, and this gets to the idea of the index cards and not just sort of coming to agreement in your group, is we can document what we've already got. Plus, we've got rapporteurs. I think the thing to do would be, instead of turning it into a single file, to break out the questions so that there's space for answering and annotation. I'll tell you, teaching a class on this stuff, just trying to collect exactly the literature you're talking about, which is what has been done so far, it is scattered to the 4 winds. And I think just having some list, even if partial but more complete, would be really useful. Oh, yes, Chris. Sorry.
And one other thing is that everybody has these little USB sticks, and on them there are a number of resources like what Clay described in terms of sort of what we've tried to do at UNICEF of bringing together these different projects, talking about what's happening in the spaces. So there's some literature on there, and maybe also tomorrow, if people had a chance to look at those, that could form the beginning of practical discussions for some next steps.
Great. Other questions, comments? Did you? Oh, you're just scratching your nose. Anything else? Last observations? Yes.
Hi, I'm Dr. Hope Kalman. I run the Children's Futures Foundation, and I've been an NGO for 15 years, but I haven't come to work for 4 years until George Bush left the White House. And in 2001, at the Global Summit of the Child, I started One Child Makes a Difference, and you guys picked it up as One Child is the Difference. And I'm on the International Criminal Court Coalition, so whoever I need to meet, I'd like to meet you while I'm here. Thank you.
Great. Thanks very much. I'll use moderator's prerogative to add one thing that I saw. Back to the idea of sort of what's the shape of the interaction. It's interesting to hear in a lot of these projects the relationship between push, pull, and share. So push is deliver something into the environment, right? The digital doorway is we're going to push this this in because this kind of tool doesn't exist there. But we're going to push it in primarily as a platform for sharing because the people are pulling on what they want out of it, and they're doing it in groups, as we heard the incredible story about the one person runs the numbers, one person runs the keyboard, 10 people yell out the answers. And I think that that may be a sort of instead of the sort of low-level communication stuff, like what direction is the information flowing, really asking yourself, are we waiting for people to pull? Are we giving people resources they can pull? Are we pushing something into the field, or are we providing a platform for them to share? And it seems to me that the really incredible projects, like the radio project being sketched out here, have all three of those characteristics all going on at the same time. And that was a thing that struck me about a pattern of a lot of these. We are, I believe, out of time because we have to reset the room. Thank you all so much for a very intense day. As I said, we'll capture everything we can and circulate it to you as soon as we can. Thanks very much.